Hey, it's Rick, and we are out here at the Cork Factory. It's called Cork Factory. It's in Sao Bras de Alportel, Portugal, and we're gonna be going inside the factory shortly. Waiting on our the manager of the factory, and who's going to come in and help us get started. And there's going to be a professional expert of the industry for cork and its processing and using and all those kinds of things. So we're going to get started shortly. We still got, I'm showing about 6 minutes. Plan on starting this at 2 p.m. Voila. So let's see who's on here so far. Somebody says, Beth says, good morning. Good morning. It's in Kentucky. Yeah. So I'm going to say we're probably 6 hours ahead of you, or 4 or 5 hours ahead of you. So we got Cynthia, Richard, Cynthia P. followed. Thank you, Cynthia, Chelsea, Jody, Todd, Bruce, Gregory, Catherine. Let me see. I was scrolling. It went up. Fran, Lori, Jill, Hans, Beth, Uda, Bill, and all right. Hi, everybody. Almost 9 a.m. there. Okay. Yep. In Kentucky. So anyway, good to have you guys. And I'll just introduce myself. We got 5 minutes approximately before we get started on the tour. And so right now, I'll just show you. I can't see much out here right now. There's a big warehouse door here behind me, and we're going to go inside and learn some interesting things about cork yesterday. Actually ended up, it's good to see everybody. Yeah, we ended up down in the town there, and they had a museum that talked about cork. So a lot of interesting facts. Cork's used for a lot of things that I had never thought of, a lot more than just cork in wine bottles. It's even used in automotive applications and, of course, in buildings to insulate and soundproof buildings. Of course, for fishermen and those applications from way back in ancient times. Yeah, wine. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, cork is one of the materials that is inert and means that it doesn't absorb flavors. It's chemically resistant. And so there's a lot of benefits to using cork. It's got a unique structure, so that is fire retardant. And like I say, soundproof. It's ability to hold its shape, its moisture, its property. It's actually there's a the cellular structure of it is just very unique, and so it's one of very unique materials on the earth that can be used for some of the things it's used for. So hey, we got some more folks coming on here. We got Julie and Kamugi, Liz, Nancy, and Debbie. All right, good to see you guys on here. And it's a little warm out here today. Actually, it's going to be probably right now mid-70s to upper 70s, and not a lot of breeze over here where we're at. We're a little bit inland from where Lori and I live, over in Tavira. And so we got Elise, D, and France R. Good to see you guys. And so we'll be getting started shortly. And thank you for joining me today. Thank you for all of your support. And those of you that follow my channel and get the updates and things like that, notifications. And so there's been a lot of talk on Heygo today, and I'm sure a lot of the other guides have already notified people on their tours that Heygo is a platform is planning to shut down on April 11th. So I've got some more tours up on the books next week, so I'm planning on going ahead and follow through with those. And then we'll see about transitioning, because I like to do the virtual tours, and I'd like to continue doing those and offering those to people that follow me. And yeah, I know, Beth. Yeah, it is. It was kind of a kind of a shock, that's for sure. It's a good word for it. So yeah, so I'll be trying to communicate with you. If you will, if you'd like to communicate with me directly, you can go on Rick and Lori's Grand Adventure at Gmail is my email website. So John Wright trying to set something up with other guides. Thanks. Yeah, I see that. I think some of the guides are going to go ahead and try to get some creative ideas on joining other platforms or some kind of something that we can do together maybe. So I'm going to go ahead and come on in here and get the hello.
Hello.
It's nice in here, a lot cooler.
The ring from lunchtime will start at 2 o'clock.
Oh, at 2? Okay. Maybe I should stand outside until that.
It's a little bit loud.
Okay. Okay. I'll warn folks. Angela says that the alarm for the 2 o'clock break and lunchtime for the workers here is going to go off at 2 o'clock. And I was standing right by the bell. So I'll try to stay away from that until right at 2 and then get that over with, so we don't cause a bunch of problems with the noise. Yeah, that would have been shocking. You probably would have saw me jump out of my skin. Oh, there it goes. So, and Lori's here with me today, so I'll pull around here.
Hello.
Okay, there's the siren's gone. So, yeah, Lori's here. Whoops, let me get you down here where you can see her better.
Oh, sure.
Oh, Lori's Grand Adventure. All right, here we go. All right. Good morning, or good afternoon.
Hello. So you came without any reservation? Yes? Okay, don't worry. Mm-hmm. So you can come closer to me.
Okay.
Good afternoon, my name is Angela. On this tour, we explain all that happens when the cork is taken from the tree, how it's taken, when it's taken, also what happens when the cork comes to the factory, what the workers in the factory do to change the natural cork to a manufactured cork, and also what are the final products that are possible to do. On this factory, we doesn't do the final products. We change the natural cork to be like something like this, like flat shape. And then when we have the cork like this, it's possible to do anything. A cork stopper, a textile, a manufactured item, something for decoration, something for isolation also. I will explain the difference that we have. The cork tree, the cork oak in Portuguese, we call the tree sobreiro. This is the name, sobreiro. It's our national tree, and it's also protected in Portugal. We have this tree for many years ago in this area, in our town, in our country. Huh? Don't say. And we see specifically in the area where we are in Algarve that the cork tree borns in the mountains, in Serra de Caldeirão, where we are, and also in Serra de Monchique. We have also the region between Algarve and Lisboa, which is Alentejo. In Alentejo, we see many properties, flat like this, and we see many cork trees. Normally, they are in plantations. It's different from Algarve in the mountains, where normally the tree grows naturally without any plantation. So mostly, maybe 60% of the cork trees in Portugal are in Alentejo, and 40% in Algarve. The countries near the Mediterranean Sea have also cork trees, like Portugal, Spain, France, Italy, Greece, Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria, all these countries, because we have a climate that is very similar. In the summer season, it's very hot in this area, and in the winter season, it's cold, but it's not freezing. And the soil also will give a good cork quality because the soil it's where we see the water and also the minerals, and all that things will pass to the tree and also will pass to the cork when it grows inside the tree. In Portugal, we have a big production of cork. We have more than 60% of production of products made in cork and also cork all over the world. Um, we have also something that is different from the other countries. Our climate also comes from the Atlantic Ocean. So that two options in Portugal, it's what will give a good quality to the cork that we have in Portugal. The tree normally grows from an acorn, like this, okay? So the tree produces, when we have a big tree, produce many acorns, so it's very easy to grow a young tree. And when the tree is starting to grow, we need to wait until more or less the trees will have about 25-30 years to take the first cork on the tree. The first that we take, we call this cork the virgin cork, the first one, okay? The virgin cork, normally we see that this is a young cork. It has many holes, many stripes. And we use this type of cork for decoration or also for isolation for construction. This will be granulated in small pieces and compact to do something like this. This is the less expensive one because it's the youngest one. The price when we buy this cork from the properties, it's about €7 for 15 kilos. If you want to touch to see how it looks.
Can you guys hear okay? I was just going to ask, give me a thumbs up if you can hear the presenter. I know there is a lot of background noise. We're in a big warehouse that has a lot of echo and things like that, and some guys talking back there. So I'm going to hold the microphone closer.
And when the properties are taking the first cork on the tree, they need also a specific size to take the first cork. It needs to have 6 hands on the tree, on the first one. It's the enough size to take the first. Then we have a cycle. It's a natural cycle and a normal cycle. The minimum time to collect the next cork it's 9 years. The maximum time 11 years. So when we take the secondary cork and we call this the secondary one, it's the second one. The tree now has 40 years. And now you can see that this one is different from the first one. The color and the density is different. You can see and touch to see how it looks. We use the secondary one for the same as we use for the first one. Normally for isolation, for construction, and the price is almost the same. €7, 15 kilos. When we take the third extraction from the tree, it's when we collect the first time the good quality cork on the tree. Now the tree has about 50 years. And we call this cork a mandia, means that this is a good one. So when the tree has almost the 50 years, it's when we take the profit from the tree. This cork has a price between €50 and €100 for 15 kilos. And we can do anything with this. We can do stoppers for wine, stoppers for champagne, textiles, tissues, manufactured items, things for decoration, anything. You can see. So now you see that the color is different, the density is also different, the stripes and the holes now are different, so it's more dense inside. And now, starting now, when the tree has 50 years, the tree until it's already in the end of his lifetime, normally until 100 years, 200 years, these trees can live a very long life. It's possible to collect the cork about 50 times in one lifetime of the tree. So when we take the cork from the tree, it's something that it's done just in the summer season, and the workers, you can see there the image there now. The workers collect the cork from the tree, cutting the cork inside the tree with the axe, and taken from the tree very easily. In the summer season, from May until August, it's the season to do this. This is also something that the government tells. This is the specific season to do that. Before or after, it's not permitted. In the summer season, the cork is dry, and also when it has the 9 years, it's very flexible to take without breaking. So it will be like this. You can try to touch just to understand. When it has the 9 years, it's very easy to take, doesn't damage the tree. But the workers who do this, they cut the cork on the tree, but they understand until where they need to go without cutting the tree. And this is something that they start to learn with somebody from the family, a neighborhood. Normally, they also live very close to the cork trees in the mountains. Um, and this job, it's a job that it's very well paid. In one day job, they can be paid about 150 euros. But it's a seasonable job, and it's a job that it's very hard in the summer season. Normally, they need to go to all the main trunk of the tree to take the cork. On the medium branches, small branches, they doesn't take that cork. There we can see the virgin cork. It's not taken. That one will be there forever because that can damage the tree. The tree, it's protected. So we just take the cork from the main part because on that part, that will not damage the tree. The branches can damage. When the cork is taken from the tree, we can see many trees that are painted. We see here the number 7. The 7 is the year when the cork was taken, 2017. Next 9 years, at the 26th, it's the next time to take the next cork, the 9 year cycle. And this is the name from the property of the tree, or even somebody who have already paid for the cork inside the tree. Sometimes the workers who take the cork buys the cork of that season and also next season. So it's why we see the name on the tree. The name, it's the property of the cork. Somebody who have already paid for the cork on the tree, or somebody who is the property of the tree and the place where the trees are. After doing this, the cork will dry at the sun. So we see in the properties many quantities of cork drying at the sun in August, September, and then in September it's when begins the season in the factory. On that season, the workers will have the cork inside the building in the middle of the factory, and they will start to separate the cork in different pallets, like the virgin one, the secondary one, and the good one. And then normally in the winter season they begin to change the cork. So you can see the natural cork will be changed to the flat shape. And this is something that normally now they are doing just when begins the winter season. Now the workers at this point are separating and selecting the cork. It's the second thing that will happen before the one that I will explain to you. And then in the final of the year, they do the pallets, and then the cork will go to another factory. Mostly the cork that you will see in this factory, it's to do stoppers of wine. They will be done in Porto, and also some cork for doing stoppers of champagne. And then we have a few cork just for isolation and a few cork just for textiles. Now we will go walking until the end of the factory to start to explain to you what will happen in the winter season, okay? Let's go. Okay. As we are walking, you will see different pallets of cork. Cork that it's natural and cork that it's already in flat shape. Everything is different, okay?
So now we're walking back to the back of the factory. Yeah, lots of birds in here.
They will not see, which is the smell.
Oh, yeah. It does have a smell to it. Kind of musty, maybe? Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of birds here, Beth. And there's a guy over here that's workers. You can see the different types of cork.
So mainly the cork that you see on the building was already changed. We have a few cork that it's natural. This one is natural, and it's the virgin one. On this factory, the work it's done almost 70% of the work it's done by hands. A small piece it's done with the machine. This machine it's to help to cut the cork when it's natural, and then to do the pallets. So the workers, when they are separating the cork, they need to use this machine to cut all the pieces of cork, and then when it's already in the pallet, we'll go to the end of the factory. It's where we will go now, okay?
I'm going to go ahead, since we're a little ways into this, post the image, and I'll post it at the end of information on how you might be able to do a tour when you're in this area. And it might. So that's just idea of the tours that are available about cork in this area. So this is just the factory. There's a lot more you can do. Go to the plantation and stuff as well.
It's a good place to go. The stairs and then up. And you can understand and also show what we have here.
Okay. So she's going to let me go up here and look at the processing area of the cork. So, and she's saying this is going to be full of water.
Some water inside, and the cork needs to be cooked. Okay? So we have the cork in the pallets. The workers will take 2 pallets of cork, and inside the factory downstairs we have a oven. On the oven, the workers will fire with wood and also with garbage that we have from the cork. That will be heating the water, okay? And the water will be about 100 degrees.
Okay. Don't know how much you could hear, but the water will be boiling, and then the cork is placed in here.
And then the cork will go inside the water, and the machine will compress the cork inside the water.
And then this big piece up here, and we're going to pan up, went kind of fast. That piece comes down onto the bottom piece and compresses the cork so that it can be cut and put into slabs.
The cork inside the water grows a little bit, expands, just like one straight line, small straight line. And that's something that is good because now the workers, when they are checking the cork, they see that they will get more profit from that cork because it goes into the water.
So I hope you can still hear her. I'm going to walk back down so we can hear her better.
Now the cork that was cooked last 2 weeks before it's drying inside the factory. And to have an idea, 2 days after the cork was cooked, the cork will lose 70% of water. When the workers are checking the cork, now that cork has 10% of water, but that's the enough water to cut by hand the cork. I forgot to tell you, the cork cooks in the water about 1 hour and a half.
Okay.
This is something that it's a traditional way of cooking the pork. It's the old style as it was to be always. And it's also an ecological system because they use the wood, the garbage.
Thanks everyone who's leaving tips. I'm trying to not interrupt the presentation. So
downstairs we have the oven if you want to take a look here. If you have a light, because the light is not open, the oven is inside, sorry. So in the middle we have a door. It's where we have the oven. It's like a bread oven.
It'll be really hard to see down in here. But this is wood and leftovers from the court to light the boiler and keep the water hot for processing. Thanks, guys, for leaving the tips. I really do appreciate it.
Even on the night, they need to come to the factory to check if the fire is done. Because in the day, they need to have the water at 100 degrees to cook the pork. Normally, they begin in a Monday, in the weekend, until the Friday. So all the week long, they are always cooking, so maintaining always the oven heated. Okay. Inside the factory, we have a chimney which is inside the oven, so the smoke will go away. It's not inside here. Okay. After the pork is already dry outside in 2 days, the workers will take all the pork to the building. And now we have the pork that was cooked 2 weeks before drying here and also being selected. Let's see what we have here. So all the pork needs to be selected, separated, to start to do just a pallet of a similar pork. In one tree in a property, we can have a pork with a good quality, and we can have also a pork inside the tree in the same property without any quality. What gives the quality? It's the water on the soil, also the sun. All the weather, even the insects, the bugs, bacteria that came inside the tree or even inside the pork can damage the quality. Let's see what we have here. All this pork that you see here, it's pork that has the less quality on the factory. We have 6 qualities. Number 6, it's the worst quality. Number 1, it's the best one. This is like the number 6. And we can see that we have here tiny pieces like this, even medium ones or double ones. There are 3 mainly calibers, the small, the medium one, and the largest one. And inside each caliber, we have the 6 qualities. All of this pork is the same quality. So this pork will be granulated, compact to do something for isolation. What gives the less quality? It's the density. So you can see the holes, the stripes. The density, it's not a good density. This one here, for example, you can see. Sometimes when it's very big, grows too fast and starts to break. That it's something that it's not good. Or even the opposite. When it grows very slow, doesn't grow in the normal schedule, it's very tiny, so we cannot do so many things like we could do with that pork. It's just for isolation. The first pallet that we have, that pork was damaged in a fire in the summer season. It's why that you see that it has a black color. The pork is very resistant to the fire, so doesn't damage so easily with the fire. Inside, mainly all that pork inside, it's not burned, just a little bit outside, so protects even the tree from the fires. On the oven, the workers use the small pieces of pork to fire because it gets burned very slow. It's why they reuse this here on the factory. On the bags, you see different kinds of bags. Small pieces like this and medium one. These ones here, it's possible to do a stopper or two stoppers in one piece, like this, okay? On the small pieces, this will be granulated. To do a stopper, a textile, something for the floor, something for isolation. And the less profit that the factory will get, it's from the bags. These are the things that are not so good that the workers now are separating. And also from this fork, that is the less expensive one. Now we will go to the other point to see which is the best fork.
Okay, now that was interesting, yeah. And we're seeing all this cork and all these different stages of usage. And this is over here is just firewood. That's not cork. So that's what they use for the boiler to heat the water when they process the cork. Oh, wow. Here's something different, like really big slabs of cork over here.
Cooking the cork, but with gas or petrol, not with wood, like we do here. But similar like this one, a few. You can come closer. So the best quality that we have in the factory, the first one, it's the one that we see here and also this one. We have here two options. On the pallets, that pork was already cooked. It's dry now. And this one, it's natural. The natural one, mostly this pork, it's to do stoppers of champagne. The factories of champagne will buy the pork, natural, and they will cook it, they will do everything, the stopper, everything. Mostly the pork that it's drying on the pallets, it's to do stoppers of wine. So this pork will be selected, cut, and do then the final pallets. The best profit that we get is from this one and also this one. So between these two options, we have 20 euros, 17 euros for 1 kilo. 1 kilo. But you can understand the quality. So if you take a look to all the fish that you see here, you doesn't see anything that affects the quality. What affects the quality? Something like a disease, a bug, a fungus. Normally they change the color or the shape. Okay? And even the density. This pork that we have in the factory came from our hills in Serra do Caldeirão, also from Alentejo, the closest places that we have pork production. Now we will go next to the workers to see what they are doing, how they select the pork. You can touch, of course.
So after the first cutting
it's very hard, isn't it? Yeah.
Always a good one.
This is the best cork, she said. So
natural problem can affect the quality.
best cork for champagne bottles, wine bottles.
The workers to select the pork.
And then here is that same cork after it's been cut and put in pallets, processed.
For example, what can affect the quality also? Sometimes the pork grows too fast, like you saw there, the double one, it starts to break, so the quality is not so good. And you can feel the smell. It's fresh. So now the workers are selecting the pork in the spring season until the end of the spring season. Then, at the end of the spring season, they will start to do the pallets, like you see here. This is the final product.
I think you ship to a manufacturer.
We doesn't ship. It goes in a truck to the north of Portugal.
Yeah.
It will stay in Portugal.
Yeah.
To do the stoppers.
Yes.
Yeah. A pallet already made like this one to do the stoppers of wine. It's about
Yeah, France, they actually, that's a good question. And no, the trees are harvested in a way that doesn't harm the tree. They use just the cork on the main part of the trunk, and then it grows back. And the harvesters that do this actually have to be certified and pass certification exams to know how to harvest the cork safely and without damaging the tree.
Almond trees, olive trees.
And what's that for?
So
The fire?
they buy it also the property have. Yes.
Oh.
If you touch, you understand how smooth it is. It's like the skin. So this is like the first one. To do the stoppers of wine, we can have the first quality, number one, the second or the third one. Sometimes some stoppers of wine breaks very easily because the quality that was done, what was used, it was not the first one, was maybe the third one. The density gives the quality. It's why some stoppers breaks.
Okay. Yeah, Debbie, that she might explain that later in the tour, how that's actually done. But we're signed up for the factory part of the tour, and so I don't know that we'll see the trees and how the cork is actually trimmed off. So I'll ask. So the processing, when the cork is harvested from the tree, is there? I mentioned, I think I've heard that the harvesters, they have to be certified or know like special ways to cut the cork from the tree and not damage the tree.
Yes. They need to have that special skill to do that. Mm-hmm. It's a traditional job, and the workers who do this need to learn how to cut without breaking it, because if they hurt the tree, that will damage the tree forever. And also the cork, the quality of the cork. For example, if a tree gets damaged, if it has a hurt from the axe, the bugs, the insects, even the birds will live inside the tree, and then that will pass to the cork when it's growing. So that is something that affects also the cork.
I see. Yeah.
It's everything related.
Yeah. It's very, very complex.
So now let's see the worker, what they are doing now.
Yeah, I apologize about the audio, Uta. We're in a big warehouse that has a lot of noise and not very good acoustics in here.
So we have here three workers laboring. Pauline, he does this work for more than 40 years. So even here, the workers needs to have the special skill to understand what they have. The quality, they touch, they see, and they understand which is the quality, the number one, the two, the second, third, and even the sizes that they have. The sizes, they use a scale. I will show you the scale. And the problems. Let me show you a piece of cork. They need to check everything from inside, outside, and also here. When they see here something that it affects the quality, they need to cut everything until they see that we have a good cork there. Let's see what will happen. Now it's a little bit different. Mas essa não é boa, né? It's not good, this one. Stripes, okay? So you can see that he's living on that place there. Okay. This one has fungos, okay? Yellow color up. It's fungos that comes inside the cork, like our skin, and affect the quality. You see the color?
Yeah.
Okay? The stripes? E por que faz isto aqui? Por que acaba?
Porque a árvore trabalha e depois a precisa comer muito grossa, começa a estalar às vezes.
Okay. So this cork grows too fast and starts to break even here up. Okay?
Is that very common?
É muito comum isso acontecer? É comum isto acontecer na cortiça? It's common, but not so much. A little bit. So you see different piles of cork in the factory. The small one, the big one here, another one there, another one there. All the cork, it's different. Mainly, the cork that you see here in the middle, it's to do stoppers of wine. The one that he told that it's not good, it's for isolation. And then we have a special one there on the middle. It's very tiny. That one will be used to do stoppers of champagne.
Opa, é só para o
And
Vitinho
it's
dar uma
cooked
correia de transmissão.
here on the middle. That one.
Okay.
Okay.
So this little pile here is all that's left of the best to do stoppers for champagne. You can see that. That is for champagne stoppers. So out of all this big warehouse, everything that's harvested, processed, and is set aside for champagne corks has to be the very best.
If you see here, straight lines inside, big straight lines are the ears that the cork have. So you can understand how it grows in 1 year. The light color, it's the summer season, and the dark color, it's the winter season. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. This one has 11 years. Parece que tem 11.
Os mais de 2 anos. É a barriga, há muita gente que conta 2.
Boa. Então tem 13.
Há muita gente que conta com a barriga.
Obrigada por ter dito isso, que é mais uma coisa para a gente saber. So we need to add more 2 years. 1 year from here, up, and another one from here. A barriga e a costa. Barriga e costa. Like we have in our body, it's the same.
Oh, okay.
The back?
In the front.
Yes. This one, you can see how it looks, the one that it's not so good. The stripes and the holes. Okay?
Looks like a pineapple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you ask him how long he's had that knife?
Há quanto tempo é que já tem esta faca? Está a usar esta faca? Passear.
Pois isto deve ter uns 2 anos, porque eu também tenho usado hoje entrelaçado.
Okay. 2 years.
A média de uma faca é para
But he's using another ones also. It's not just that one.
Mas é quanto troco?
Mas dura o que em média? 2 anos?
Não.
Menos?
Vai...
Normally 7, 8 months just to use one knife.
Oh, yeah.
They have a special stone to clean the knife 1 time a day. If they are always cleaning, the knife will very easily be done. The blade will be cutting inside to check what he has inside. He needs to understand that everything inside one piece, it's also the same. All the quality, it's the same one. The same.
Estava aí um homenzinho com a gente. Estava aí um homenzinho com a gente. Se era 3 em 3 meses, estava a pedir uma faca ao patrão. Estava a ser para de reboco.
Depende do uso. Depending on the use that you use with the knives, sometimes some workers use the knife just 3 months. And then it should change.
Isto aqui, a pedra, é só para a gente dar um bocado ao lume. Para ser afiado, tem que ser ali no bocado mesmo, tem que ser ali naquela roda. Este aqui é o modelo.
This one is a good one. The first quality.
Este aqui é bom. Aqui é que é.
If you touch,
Yeah, feels
with
like
the things that you see on the shops,
Yep.
if it's the same,
Yep.
you touch, you understand which is a good one or
Yep.
not. Normally, the best things that we see done in the shops, the textiles, are made from the double one, like the one that you see here on these 2 pallets.
Okay.
That one would be cut in machines to do textiles. The textile, the tissue. The less expensive things on the shops, that part is granulated, are from the bags that we see here. Okay? It's not so smooth, it's very hard and breaks more easy.
I did have a question about the cork, the champagne cork.
Yes.
That's a very small pile.
Yes, to do the discs.
Okay.
The discs, I will show you. We have here a place where we show how the stoppers are made. The stopper of champagne have two discs down inside the bottle and up on where we have the big bottom like a mushroom. It's a cork that is granulated. All that cork, it's the first quality. But to do the discs, we need that one. Tem um pé de linha. So the small cork, the very tiny one, it's until here, 12. To do the discs of champagne. Or even to do a small stopper, like a port wine. Port wine has a small stopper. A double. I'm sorry. A stopper that it's the normal one to do for a wine. That cork needs to have until the 18 or the 24. This is the caliber. And the 33, it's the largest size to do the textiles. Let me show you. They use the scale and they do something like this. So the 12, it's the tiny one to do the champagne or even for isolation. Then we have the 24 for the stoppers of wine and the 33 for the textiles. So this one that we have here, it's for a stopper of wine. It's the 18, the smaller stoppers. The stopper is cut inside like this. Okay.
I used to work in a mill and I graded lumber. Lumber, the boards out of trees, out of like pine trees.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd have to spin them and see if they were good, like the different grades.
And that it's good to do the what? Watch it
Like
the
for building
fine.
houses, or what we did was we graded lumber for building window styles. They were called.
Ah, ok.
For
Ok.
the wood around windows.
Ok. É tipo canas. A senhora diz que já trabalhou em algo parecido a isto? Para selecionar tipo canas, pelo que eu estou a perceber. Para fazer os totes. Também tem que secar e tudo mais.
Tem que secar,
Selecionar.
Selecionar a cana. Como a gente faz aquelas telhas pequenas.
She's talking to the worker here. Lori had mentioned that she used to work in a lumber mill where they graded lumber, and similarities between how to grade regular wood and cork. So some similarities, but all it's very hard work, and so we're thankful to be here today and get to see all this.
If you want to take a look to another,
Obrigado.
If you want to take a look to the other worker, we can go also there to take a look, and then we have and then we go to the table.
So we're going to go over and talk to the other worker and get his ideas about what his job is. You're right, Angie. That is cool. Yeah, it is from an oak tree, oak species.
Okay. So, this worker is also separating the core. Okay. This one is a good one. It's similar like the one.
Yeah.
You touch. Yeah. You feel?
Yep.
So the worst quality that he has, it's the small pile here in the middle. This is the best one. Like the other ones are checking and separating the core. The double one, you see also here the double one, the big one. And the one to do the disc for the champagne, he has also a small pile on the other side.
You're welcome. I am appreciating you guys being here, just sharing this with me today, because it is very interesting.
And also the small stoppers.
Ela é a parte fina, ela é a parte baixinha, é grosso. Uma parte dá para fazer rolha, outra não, porque a rolha fica muito mole.
flexível.
Não é exatamente a
A rolha
consistência.
precisa de tirar a costa e a barriga. Para ficar rija.
Ficar dura. He's telling that, for example, to use the double one here to do a stopper, it's not so good because that cord, it's very easy to break because it's very large. It's like a skin expand. And this one it's good because it's everything inside. It's very hard. It's not so easy to break.
Oh, okay.
Okay. This is a skin. The cork, it's a skin, and it's very flexible. So to do the best stoppers, the medium size, the best quality, it's this one. Essa também é boa, né? This one. You can see the quality just seeing. It's very easy to understand. So
Thank you, Fran.
The first part it's a good one. The other one it's not so good. So he needs to separate. Okay.
I see. So cork as a sustainable product, is it expanding? Are there more cork trees being planted, or
Yes.
less, or
It's expanding?
it is,
Not in our region in Algarve. In Algarve, we see the trees that are born normally, not expanding. But in Alentejo, in the properties, we see people leaving water on the trees, irrigation, like we have in orange trees, for example. And that cork, it's taken in 10, 12 years, the first one, not in 25. Okay? So maybe next 10 years we will have more cork because we have that it's a different system. It's not the natural one, but we can see that the trees and the cork grows more fast.
okay? So I hope you could hear that, Judith, to answer your question. They're using different techniques now, and actually irrigating the orchards. I say orchards. I guess it's groves, oak groves, with water rather than just depend on natural moisture. And they can harvest in about half the time, 9 to 10 years for the first cut instead of waiting until 25.
Obrigada. Eu já volto daqui a pouco.
Obrigada.
Vou ter mais senhores em português na lista.
Not sure how the oldest groves are, Angie, but earlier in the tour she mentioned that the trees can be as old as 200 years old.
Very fascinating. I'm never going to drink wine.
So thank you guys for coming. I know I've let the guide here do the talking, and that was the intention of this tour. I kind of posted that up front, but and I really do appreciate all the tips I've seen coming through, and all of the remarks. I'm trying to answer the questions as much as I can with breaks in between.
So you can have an idea how many cork we have here for doing the stoppers, and in one piece, a small piece, we can have many options of stoppers that are done here. This is an old machine to do stoppers. It's not used anymore, and even this work was something that was like a manual job. This is not automatically. Somebody was doing pressure, and then the machine cut the stoppers, push and cut. And all this piece, it's not waste. We'll back again to another factory or to a machine to granulate and then to do another thing. It's possible to do then something for isolation or a stopper, granulated, the less expensive stoppers.
And we still have a little more of the tour left, so hang in there, guys. And I scheduled for, I think, 60 minutes on this one to make sure that we had enough time to see everything.
Maybe the middle. Until the middle, the medium size. And this one was taken all the pieces together. It's not also normal.
Okay.
This is something just to understand how the trees can be very tall or not, depending on where they are.
Okay.
Now let's go to the table.
Did that come to the outside?
Yeah,
I'm gonna pause here just for a second. I don't usually do a lot of vertical shots, but I want to do one here on this tree to show you how tall these cork trees can be.
Because it's not the trees, they are growing without any
Right.
So some
You're welcome,
trees can
Cynthia.
grow very fast or not, and also be very tall like that one. So I show you the scale, and here you have the three options that I show you on the scale: the number 12, the number 18, 24, and the number 33. All of these options have 9 years.
Okay.
So we can see that the cork, it's all different, it's not the same. The problem that affects the qualities, the buds, and normally that cork it's to granulate. This is the granulated cork. Yes. The color and the color show you the color, yellow color.
Yeah.
Yellow color, and this is the green color. The green color, it's because the cork was green inside like a fruit, was not already dry. So when it's green, that cork will stay in the factory 1 year drying, and then the green will disappear. This one grows too fast and starts to break. Normally this one is to do the textiles, something like this. This is something. I have here also something. Let me see. Don't get lost. We get lost. We have here something to show you. It's a small piece of a textile. This is similar, but it's a little bit different. And then we have also a bug. This is a bug that affects the quality. The bug do this, okay? So inside you see the color was damaged from the bug.
Yeah, and it looks very porous, right?
Yes. So this place it's not good to do a stopper. And this is the dry year. The dry year, it's a cork that doesn't grow nor in the normal growing in 9 years. Doesn't have enough water from the soil. And now we see some cork that it's damaging with the years. With these problems, climate changing, the water it's not enough, the soil it's very dry, the soil doesn't have enough water, and also the fires. The summer, on the summer season we have many fires, and it's a climate changing problem also.
Yeah. I can't remember. Did you say how the champagne corks are formed differently? They're different shapes.
Now we will see.
Okay.
Yes. So we have the stoppers. Starting at the champagne. So this is something to understand, to show you how the granulated cork is mixed together, compact to do a stopper. If we are talking about champagne, we use the first quality. And the first quality, we have a piece that will be granulated, and we have the discs. I show you there that we have the tiny cork to do the discs. So the discs are cut here in a machine, and then the discs will be folded, and we have the stopper of champagne up with granulated cork and down with 2 discs. This is the final product. So here inside the bottle, it's the discs, okay, and up it's granulated cork. If you want to take a look, so the stoppers of champagne are the most expensive stoppers. They are about €2, €3. When they go inside the bottle, the machines will compress the stopper inside the bottle, and the shape will change. The place where it is the granulated cork will be compressed, okay? And we have a bottom inside, up, and down we have the discs. So the shape of the stopper it's changing because it's inside the bottle. It's compressed. When we take the stopper of champagne from the bottle, we can try to cook it in hot water, and we can see that the shape will back again to the normal shape to this one, because the cork was compressed and with the water will expand. Like here in the cooking, the pork roast, it's the same. So this is the most expensive one. Then we have a good stopper for a wine, an old wine. Normally these stoppers are about €1, €1 and a half, and the wines are more than €10, €10, €20. The most expensive wines, old wines. Then we have the less expensive stoppers with this granulated pork. So mostly the wines that we buy in the supermarket, less than €10, it's with this type of stoppers. They are 20 cents, 30 cents. And here we have the port wine, liquor wine also. So this one is also done from the small ones, like this one, Delgado. We also see some stoppers for the good wines, like this. The holes are not here anymore because the factories use something like a cream, like a silicone to close the holes. You see some holes, but they are closed like a cream. This is the natural one. And then they change it to this. That's why we see even a different color. They are washed in water and then they also use a cream. And it's why we see that color. It's a little bit different from the normal one. The stoppers are possible to be recyclable, okay? So we can leave the stoppers in a collecting point like a supermarket, a market, and then the stoppers will go to a factory to granulate the stoppers, and then we can do something else with that. We can do something for isolation or even a stopper. Now let's go to the place where we begin the tour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, Carolyn. They do really are made of cork handbags, and because they're created and processed so they could be a textile.
Are recyclable. It's possible to recycle. And we can see that the cork has some properties, like it's light, it's antibacterial, it's heat resistance, water resistance, fire resistance also. This is a cricket ball or a hockey ball. Also baseball also have cork. Some sports use the cork because it's light. Badminton, all the pieces that we see here, it's cork. The cork also floats on the water for fishing. We have a factory in our town. They do surfboards, and the surfboards. We see that the surfboards or the boarding boards floats on the sea, so it's a very good material to use for that. Then we have cars, aviation, space shuttles. This is for the cars, gaskets. Okay. For space shuttles or even aviation, components for isolation, or even for decoration in a car. Some cars, instead of using a leather, synthetic leather, are using a leather like cork. It's cork, like this. This is a textile, and you can feel and touch and see that this is
So
the
this
best
is about
cork
the
that we have
textile
to
and
do
the stuff that
textiles.
makes handbags and hats and clothes, things
A
like
bag,
that.
a hat, a shoe, umbrella, of many options.
Even shoes,
In Portugal,
umbrellas, she
we
says.
have in the center and the north of Portugal with factories doing this. Also in Spain. And normally these factories use the best cork to do the final product, the textiles. Then we have, this is for decoration, wallpaper. And we can see that we have the granulated compact with color, without color. Here we see with big pieces like a puzzle and the stripes. The isolation thing. This is something to use in the form, uma maintain the heat in the floor. And here we use the less expensive pork, like this, to use inside the walls, on the roof, on the ground, also to maintain the heat that blocks the sound.
So floor insulation and wall insulation as well.
And then we have the furniture. We have the lamp, the bricks on the lamp, it's also pork, the sofa, and the table. And we have the manufactured items. It's what we have in the shop, in a normal pork shop. Bags, imans, pans, everything that can be done. Normally, the factories have laser machines to cut the pork in tiny pieces and then to compact and glue in the material, in the final product that they want to do. Mostly, this business is related with the stockers, more than 60%. And then we have 20% for the isolation, another 20% for the manufactured items, or another small piece for the furniture. Okay? So we are at the end of the tour. Now we will go up to the shop, and near the shop we have pictures with the workers taking the cork from the tree, so you can see how normally it looks, and also the axe that they use to cut the cork. Okay? If you have questions, ask me. I hope you enjoy.
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you so much, Angela. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, good.
Yes,
So, thank you guys for joining this tour, and Angela has completed her part. It's very interesting. We had a great tour. Angela's very knowledgeable and explained everything very, very well. So we're going to come around here, and I'll just pan back around so you can see the length of the shop that we went through, and all of that. Thank you guys. Yeah, appreciate you being here, and yeah, it was a very, very interesting tour. So yeah, kind of come back over here, and this was where we started and where we ended here with all the cork products displayed, and pieces of cork from the tree. Here's a little bit more. Maybe you can do some postcards of some of this explanation of cork. And then you can read later. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can capture the words.
The cork, it's water resistance, and it maintains the things fresh.
Thank you guys. Thanks, Rachel and Eileen and everyone else that left tips. I really appreciate it. I think maybe that's Ellen. I said Eileen. Thank you guys so much. I do appreciate it. Yeah, follow, and you should be notified of my next tours. I've got a couple next week going in Tavira, and we're actually going to go, I think, into the shop area. So we're going to go upstairs in just a minute. I didn't realize that we were going to get to do that. So yeah, those. If you want to hang around a few more minutes, we'll see a little bit more. Cork's been used since ancient times. And hopefully I'll have a good signal up here, so I'm going to go up these stairs. I might lose a signal a little bit. Hopefully it'll be good enough to keep broadcasting here.
It's not too sweet. It's not too alcoholic. It's okay. Okay.
You didn't have a taste. It's fig.
What is it?
Yeah, fig.
Oh, liquor from fig.
Yeah. It smells good.
Mm-hmm. I think I will try some.
All this stuff is made out of good pork, right?
Not all of them.
So
Cheers,
that's what
everybody.
I'm saying,
This is
like,
liqueur from figs. So they have
Up
up here at the end of the tour.
yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Wow, it's very sweet. And it does taste like a fig.
So this wouldn't be comparative.
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe this one.
Okay, so cool. We get to go into the shop.
Different This is granulated. You see? Granulated. It's the small pieces that I show you
All
here.
that are all sort of glued together.
Yes.
I see. Okay.
Not the leather. Like this.
So we've gone over our time, but if you guys hang around, I'll continue walking through the shop area. And it looks like signal may be starting to get fuzzy, or the picture may be getting fuzzy because I'm getting a really low signal here. Yeah, right, Carolyn. Online. So I have somebody here asking, do you have an online store where people can buy online products here?
No.
Not online. You have to
You
come.
need to buy to them.
Yeah, right. So yeah, make your orders here. Yeah, there's a lot of cork shops. There's a lot of cork shops in Tavira, where we live. Yeah, all around. Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it, Cynthia? Yeah. Well, this is really cool for me. I'm going to pan down a little bit so we can see a little bit more of.
Where do they go to get printed on?
And they got fans, even like little hand fans. Isn't that interesting? Made of cork.
In the center and also the north of Portugal, different companies. Some of them in Montado. This one is Montado. Another one, Artical is name. We have also Artusa.
Can you go through their factories?
I don't know if they do tours.
Okay.
Mostly these companies are in the center and the north. Okay. I know that in the north there is.
I'm actually going to go back downstairs where I can get a better signal before I sign off.
I don't know. Okay. Thank you.
Very nice.
And we have also products that are made in Spain. For example, Spain also have many manufactured items.
Okay.
Spain mostly buys the cork to Portugal, and then they produce the on their factories.
Oops, sorry.
They
I'm
doesn't
going
have so many
to pan
cork
up a little bit quick.
in Spain.
Okay.
I'm just looking at them all.
Thank you, Liz.
This is something to drink water. It's a buchado.
Oh.
It was cut from the natural cork that we have here. And when we have here groups, they are always joking about this.
Oh, because the water cups. Somebody.
So I make notebooks. If I make them with cork on,
You need to buy the cork paper.
No, I just want to do like a photo. If I make them like a photo of cork.
So.
Yeah, right, Joan.
Because this is just a notebook, like notebook.
Okay.
So, and I took photos.
Okay.
So I took a photo of cork.
Yeah, right, Carolyn. There's a lot of stuff in here, right? Jewelry and handbags, all kinds of things. I even see a hat, a purse.
I asked my colleague, the owner of the tours, because sometimes she does.
So I am going to go ahead and, like I said, walk back downstairs and get a better signal. Okay, guys? And then we'll sign off.
The final products. Handcraft. Even working with cork.
Okay.
So you can send me email and then I pass to my colleague.
Okay.
Asking me for that. You live here very close
To Vera.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can send to this email.
Okay.
And I need to see with her because she knows many people from this business and even somebody who can help to do that.
Okay.
Because I doesn't know for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
but I suppose that she can help you. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And you can,
Oh,
so thank you, Angela.
thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Once
you.
again.
I hope to see you here also.
Yeah, we've got many people that want to come here now. So I want to go down and I think I got a nice little postcard shot there for you. Stop for a minute. Just saw that as I was going by. And so I'm going to head back out down the stairs and outside and officially end the tour. But thank you guys so much for coming today. This is a wonderful tour. I actually learned a lot more about Cork, even though I had done a little bit of research on it. Yeah, Angela was very, very good presenter. Yeah, I think it's the same word. I'll have to look that one up, but she kept saying Cork, so I'll have to find out. It's a good question. I think whenever I've seen it in stores, when I've seen it in stores, Carolyn, around here, I always see the word Cork, but a lot of stores around here, they use a lot of English because there are so many consumers here from English-speaking countries. So, oh, thank you, Maggie. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, well, this first tour, it's not kind of representative of what I usually do. This is a little special one. We got special permission to just go ahead and go live and do the whole presentation for the Cork Factory with Angela, who's a professional here. And so she's just full of knowledge about the cork and was able to share everything about the processing with us today. So anyway, I just want to say, hey, thank you guys. And just sign off saying, I know that you've probably already seen the message, or if you haven't, to know that the Heygo platform is going away. April 11th is going to be the last day. And thank you, Angie, Cortica in Portuguese. Yeah. So, but I'm trying to connect with all of my followers. And if you want to connect with me, you can send me an email at rickandloriesgrandadventure.com. We have an email, rickandloriesgrandadventure@gmail.com. And then we're also on Facebook, and you can message us through Facebook at Rick and Lori's Grand Adventure. And so I do want to continue to do virtual tours. Just going to have to find out what kind of a platform that might work, and see what the other Heygo tour guides are doing for this transition. And I know there's many, many followers out there that want to continue seeing these virtual tours. So I'm going to do my best to, keep offering, and hopefully you guys will be able to follow me. But yeah, go to Rick and Lori's Grand Adventure on Facebook, and then also we have the website. So yeah, you bet. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and and just remind you that we do have also a presence. Lori has notebooks on Amazon, and she does. There's going to be a link that in Facebook and online, and some other things that we do. So you might be interested in, and travel related things on our website as well. So thank you, Jennifer. Appreciate the tip. Yeah, thank you, everyone. You've been so generous and kind, and I do have a couple more tours next week, so sign up for those. We'll touch base then, and I love you all, and God bless. We'll see you next time.